Aaron Rodgers keeping the NFL on hold again. What to make of it? Let's get into it. So, Aaron Rodgers, now 41 years old, just a couple of off seasons removed from a massive Achilles injury, is holding the NFL hostage for the second time in 3 years. And it doesn't, quite frankly, it doesn't make sense to me. Yes, Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks in NFL history. Statistically, he's got multiple MVPs, but his last MVP is going to be 4 years ago. His stint with the Jets was less than impressive. Definitely not what they were hoping for. Granted, that wasn't all Rodgers' fault. The first season, horrible Achilles injury. Second season, he had a good year. He was top 10 in both touchdowns and pass yards in 2024, despite New York's 5-12 record. So you cannot put that all on Aaron Rodgers. Coaching changes, abysmal defense, bad offensive line. The Jets need a lot more help than a quarterback. But, as Jets fans always do, they were talking pretty big about Super Bowl or bust and busted pretty hard. Again, that wasn't all Rodgers' fault, but Rodgers is holding court, basically, with the NFL for the second time in 3 years at 41 years old. Granted, he's been a lot quieter this offseason than he was 2 off seasons ago, being on Pat McAfee every day, telling everybody he's going on darkness retreats to get his mind right, not showing up to minicamp, not showing up to early season stuff, just really milking the attention. And granted, he's been quiet, but his only choices at this point. He had multiple teams linked to him as recently as a few weeks ago with the Vikings and the Giants. But both those teams have seemingly moved on and committed to other options, while Aaron Rodgers is still holding the NFL, its fans, and the Pittsburgh Steelers hostage as if it's LeBron James' decision, which it's not, because LeBron James was in his prime when he had the televised special decision. Aaron Rodgers is 41 years old with one Achilles. I don't think that Aaron Rodgers is at 41 is automatically going to get the Steelers to the playoffs and beyond. This is a team I've learned to never count out Mike Tomlin. I think he's one of the best coaches, definitely in the NFL, but maybe in the history of the NFL. He's fast approaching 20 years as head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers. He's only got the one championship, but this is one of the proudest franchises in football. They expect winning. And Mike Tomlin has not had a losing record with the Steelers for almost 20 years, and that includes the season with Mason Rudolph and Duck Hodges as your quarterback options. I have learned to not count out Mike Tomlin. He did really good things with Justin Fields and Russell Wilson, and I think he could do really good things with Aaron Rodgers, even at this point in his career. But the more that I think about it, the more it doesn't fit. Mike Tomlin, to me, seems like a no-nonsense guy. Doesn't seem like a guy who's going to put up with a lot like Belichick in that way. But he also has a reputation of being a player's coach. And if you're able to be with a team for 20 seasons and still be considered a player's coach, that probably means there's some stuff that you're a little looser, a little less strict than some coaches in the past. So maybe there is room for some extracurricular stuff. And Aaron Rodgers is pretty set in his ways, a pretty big fan of the extracurriculars, a pretty big fan of grabbing attention. It doesn't seem like Mike Tomlin would be a fan of that, but maybe he doesn't care. We've seen a lot of extracurricular stuff from Russell Wilson in past years. That seemed to go away last year. So maybe Mike Tomlin is no nonsense, and maybe he's not. because he does have a reputation as a players coach, and we know that players like to test limits. But Aaron Rodgers is a pretty rigid guy, and I just don't see that fitting at all in his ways, not in his discipline, but in his ways, which can be a little bit extra. Plus, Arthur Smith is a very run-heavy, play-action guy, and I'm not sure I want Aaron Rodgers rolling out a bunch at 41 on one Achilles. So the more I think about it, it doesn't make the most sense to me, but seeing as his choices at this point are Steelers or retirement, and if he was going to retire, I feel like he would have done it by now, just end the holdout that doesn't need to be held out and sign with the Steelers. You're 41 years old. You're not the best quarterback in the NFL anymore. Like, we care because you're a big name, but we shouldn't care this much. You're not the hot commodity anymore. You're not Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen anymore. Your best days are long behind you, and despite decent individual stats, your tenure with the Jets proved that. End this and make a decision. And by make a decision, I mean sign with the Pittsburgh Steelers. I also wrote a blog post about this. You can check it out on EmpireSportsTalk.com. But let me know in the comments what you think about Aaron Rodgers yet again holding out on the NFL for the second time in 3 years. Let's get off the hooks. Let's get back to our lives. Let's get Aaron Rodgers on a team or out of the league. Either one. I don't care. Let's just end this.